How we doing, friends? My name is Jesse. Welcome back to Male Nurse Mentor. Friends, today I wanted to make a different type of video. It's going to be like segment 2, you can say, following the pre-nursing phase. I made a video like this where I spoke about the pre-nursing phase and, at least in my opinion, how I felt that was the most difficult phase for the nursing journey. Today I'm going to be talking about the nursing school program phase. And just before we get too deep into the weeds, friends, Happy New Year. We're, still less than 7 days in. You guys are probably gonna get ready to start your next semester of nursing school, application periods, or get into a nursing program in general, right? Still fighting to get in. It's very competitive, it's very fierce. I wish it wasn't that way. But friends, the thing about the nursing journey that I do want to mention, I've broken it down into 3 different phases. There's the pre-nursing phase, there's a nursing school phase, which we're going to touch on today, and then there's the workforce. Those are the 3 phases that, at least for me, I've broken this whole thing down into these 3. On my channel over time, you're gonna see a catalog of videos, labeled pre-nursing, nursing school, and then the workforce. All relevant to mentorship, things that I've learned, things that I've gathered over time, things that I've seen and observed from other people as well. Things that honestly, I feel are very helpful. They've allowed me to, kind of shape my nursing career in a way that I've enjoyed. I now get to work from this desk right here. This is my career. I'm shaping it in the way that I want. And hopefully the idea is, I can help you guys do it for yourselves, because we all deserve to have our own nursing career look how we want it to. It doesn't have to look a specific way. And it's gonna be a side tangent. I know when I was graduating my nursing program, people were saying, go into med-surg, you have to go into med-surg. I didn't listen, it was risky, I didn't like it, but I followed my own path and it's paid off ever since. With that said, friends, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the nursing school program phase, things that I think are important for you to know. I made a video like this regarding the pre-nursing phase. I labeled it probably the most difficult phase in the whole nursing journey, just my own personal opinion. I only say that honestly because I see how difficult it is to actually get into a nursing program. Once you're in a program, we're gonna talk about it in today's video. Once you're in, the whole point to this, in a nutshell, is you just got to survive. You just got to make it through. Just pass. Get through the school, pass, get ready to take your NCLEX, pass your NCLEX. That's the whole goal of this nursing program phase. And then eventually we'll talk more about the workforce. But friends, here are 5 things I think are important for you to know. A little bit of a different view. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. This is actually my desk. I work from home right here. I got 5 things I want you guys to know that I've learned, I've experienced, that I think are important for you to know. Everything is like 90% planned for you. As opposed to in the pre-nursing phase, like again, I always say, this is the most difficult phase, partly because you have to plan everything for yourself. Maybe you can find a good school counselor that you trust, but otherwise, you're on your own. There's no one there to tell you, oh, don't take that class, here you should take this class and things like that. You are there on your own to do this. In nursing school, everything is pre-planned for you. All the classes, which classes you'll take in which semester. You're done with one semester, your next one's already signed up for you practically. You probably just have to go in and register. They give you like a specific code, if that, but everything is there. You don't have to compete for seats. You don't have to be waitlisted for a class. All those things take a lot of pressure off. All that pressure that you felt in the pre-nursing phase. And friends, just to also mention, I am working on a website. It's called California Pre-Nursing. If you do find yourself in need of assistance, this is gonna be a website where I do provide a service, where alongside you, I work with you, having done this whole journey before. I'll help you come up with your own blueprint if that's what you need. A blueprint would be for you to find out from where you are today, what is it that you need to get into nursing school. The website's not up today when I'm shooting this video, but it will be up eventually. And eventually when it's up, we can work together if that's something that you need. I just like mentioning it in my videos from this point on moving forward, because it is something that will be up here pretty soon. Up and running. So this next one, friends, that I want to mention, it's time management is more important than ever before. A lot of people say nursing school itself is probably the most difficult of the whole journey. I disagree. I've told you why. A lot of people say it is, and I can agree to a point. Time management is critical. They're gonna throw you into all these classes that are gonna be difficult in themselves. I would say not more difficult though than taking anatomy, physiology, chemistry, taking statistics if you had to, taking all these classes, right? And trying to get an A. I would say it's not any more difficult than that process. I would say what is critical is time management, because you're going to be taking these courses, right? You're going to be a full-time student, and every once in a while, at least in semester 1, they're going to throw you into a clinical. So now you have to balance clinical and coursework, right? It's going to feel like a part-time job. And then the thing is, with your clinical hours, you're not going to be able to do anything other than just be stressed about it. You're going to go into these environments. You're going to be touching patients maybe for the first time for some of you. And then you're going to want to practice the skills that you're learning in class. And it's a different type of stress, right? Studying to pass a class, to pass your exam is one stress. The other stress is actually touching and working with patients. That's a whole nother type of stress. That's why I say time management is very important, because after a day of clinicals, you're just going to want to come back and kind of decompress and relax. You're not going to want to save all your homework assignments and go into crunch time to study for your exam at the last second after a busy day of clinicals or something like that. I say time management because they're going to be two big components. Make sure you manage your time for your coursework, and also take into account you're going to be doing clinicals. Semester 1, I mentioned as an example, but that's not even your heaviest one. When you go into these later semesters, and I would say even beginning in semester 2, you're going to get thrown a lot more of these clinical hours. And time management is very important, because sometimes you're going to be at these clinical sites for 8 hours a day. It's like a whole day of work, right? So be careful to stay on top of your coursework, stay on top of your study time, and make sure you're balancing out your clinical hours with your coursework. The best thing I can recommend, just as a quick tip for this, is whenever you get an assignment, do it that weekend. Whenever you get something to study for, study and begin studying that weekend. And then slowly you kind of study over time, as opposed to just waiting to study for the whole thing at the very end, after you've just done your clinical hours, after you're exhausted from that day. That's not a good recipe. Friends, I hope you guys like crystals. Look at this. This is my partner's crystal store. If you guys are OGs, you've seen some of my, white billboard type videos. I used to have this in the background. Anyways, let's move on to number 3. What I wrote here is that it's not really any intellectually harder than pre-nursing. And I kind of touched on that in the prior point. So I got a little bit ahead of myself. But in that prior point and to this point, it's not really any harder than going through your pre-nursing journey, taking anatomy, physiology, chemistry, taking all those courses, right? Public speaking. It's not any harder than that. So I kind of mentioned that. That's the point I wanted to make here. It's all a build-up on those courses. That's why they ask for them as prereqs. They want you to take anatomy, physiology, microbiology, so that way when you get to these nursing schools, you got to understand physiology from a nursing lens, right? They're going to tell you about certain diagnoses and how to treat them. And that's why they pull from these prereqs, right, that you've taken before, such as anatomy, knowing body parts, and then physiology, knowing how the body works. And then when you get to nursing school, it all kind of comes together. But you already have the pieces. You already have those nuggets. It's just a matter of actually studying, putting in the time, and kind of piecing it all together. And honestly, it's not that bad. I don't think it's any harder than physiology back in the pre-nursing phase. Point number 4 that I want to mention here, I wrote down, you will not feel prepared for being a new nurse on the floor when you graduate. I mentioned this in some of my other videos, but you would imagine if you go through all the 2 years of nursing school for an ADN or 2.5 years for a BSN, that you would feel prepared by the time you're done, right? You just don't. You don't feel ready. You won't feel ready. You'll go through clinicals, and I think that's my point number 5, and I'll wrap it up with the video. You're going to go through clinical skills, but you won't be able to do everything. Right? You won't be able to practice enough. It's just not feasible. And when you go through the coursework, right, taking these exams, you're going to think you know everything, but they're going to prepare you to take the NCLEX. Really, that's all that they do. That's the biggest goal. And I say that with a caveat. There's going to be a lot of that information that you will gain and you'll take with you throughout your nursing career. So it's not all a complete waste. I really don't want to communicate it that way. What I'm trying to say is, even in that coursework, there's going to be a lot that you still have to learn beyond that point. They're really prepping you to take the NCLEX, giving you all the information that you need to take the NCLEX. After that, you're kind of on your own. You will take what you remember from nursing school, and then you'll learn a lot as you go, right? As you encounter new things when you're a nurse on the floor. And the truth is, maybe you work in a specialty and then you go work in another one and you kind of forget some of this foundational knowledge where you have to go back and read up on it, study on it, relearn it. Because one nurse won't know everything. Maybe unless you're an ICU nurse. If you want to learn something, speak to an ICU nurse. So to summarize this point, you're not going to feel ready to be a nurse, to be an actual nurse on the floor when you graduate nursing school. To me, I've learned that that's not the actual purpose. The actual purpose of nursing school is to get you to pass the NCLEX. And just to wrap up the video, friends, with this final point, I kind of touched on it here in my prior point as well. I've been doing that throughout this video, but they all connect and I get passionate about it. But hopefully you guys were able to bear with me. Number 5, friends, I wrote, you won't be able to practice all your skills to the point you feel fully ready. So like I mentioned, another point, you're not gonna feel ready when you're done with the program to be a new nurse. And when it comes to your skills, do your best in nursing school to practice, right? Practice your IVs, practice your catheters on male and female, practice NG tubes, practice everything that you can, right? Get your hands on it, observe. But even then, There's no way you can observe everything from those lists in the way that you want. And if you do multiple times, there's no way you could practice all the skills multiple times. There's gonna be some that you practice more than others, depending on the situation. Sometimes you may not even really get to see much, right? Maybe you see a few things and you don't get to see everything. That's also normal. Do your best to put yourself out there, but at the same time, be kind to yourself, right? When you're a nurse on the floor, you're gonna go through that whole thing again. And as you experience the floor, you're gonna be around nurses with experience. So if you ever need help, ever need some assistance, touch base with somebody, your colleagues will be there. They'll show up for you. Anyways, friends, that's gonna be it for this video. A little bit of a different style. Hope you guys were able to enjoy it. Hopefully you were able to follow. I will see you guys on the next video, friends. If you ever need to reach me, some of you guys have, a lot of you guys have actually, you can find me on Instagram at Male Nurse Mentor. And like I said, I'm gonna be coming up with a website. It's gonna be called CaliforniaPrenursing.com. And reach out to me eventually when it's up if you need any help with your blueprint, or if you ever just want to connect with me. That will be the best way eventually to do so. Other than that, friends, I wish you well on your journey. Continue moving forward. 2025 is here. See you around.